They were supposed to be done, finished. The basketball world had already closed the book on the Golden State Warriors, calling them too old, too slow, and too dependent on a fading star. But in Game 1 against the Houston Rockets, a team built on youth, speed, and chaos, the Warriors showed that you don't need to be the fastest team to win. You just need to be the smartest one. Well, folks, let's break down the Warriors versus Rockets Game 1, which left everyone shocked. But before we dive into this, make sure to subscribe for more interesting analysis and breakdowns. Okay, I promise that's the last promotion, at least for now. Now, let's stop with the sales pitch and get to the real work. So, from the very beginning, Houston came in looking like the hungrier team. They were younger, more athletic, and full of confidence. Alperen Şengün, often nicknamed Baby Jokic, was the focal point of the offense, running dribble handoffs, operating in the high post, and punishing defenders with both touch and patience. And guess what? It worked, early on at least. On the very first possession, Şengün set a strong D-Cho screen for Jaylen Green, who used his elite first step to break down the defense. Golden State's defenders were already on their heels. The Rockets had set the tone. We're not backing down. Jaylen Green kept attacking. His speed at the point of attack tilted the Warriors' defense over and over, and Şengün was the perfect partner, catching lobs, cleaning up missed layups, and finishing through contact in the paint. When Dillon Brooks got switched on to Steph Curry, Houston top-locked him, trying to deny every off-ball screen and make him work just to touch the ball. The game plan was clear: make the Warriors uncomfortable. And for a moment, it worked. But the Warriors didn't panic. They never do. Golden State answered in typical fashion, by trusting their system and staying patient. Gary Payton, too, came off the bench and immediately injected energy into the defense. He hounded Jaylen Green full court, fought through screens, and forced Houston's ball handlers to second-guess every pass. On the other end, Curry started drawing two defenders off every pick, opening up the floor for cutters and rollers. That's when Jimmy Butler started to take over. Butler, the newly added piece to this Warriors puzzle, didn't just play well. He controlled the pace. He slowed things down when needed, broke defenders down in the half court, and found open shooters in the corners. One possession, it was Santos. The next, Buddy Hield. On every Butler drive, the Rockets' defense collapsed just a little too much, and every time, Golden State made them pay. But the real shift came in the second quarter. That's when Steve Kerr made his move. After seeing Houston pile up paint touches early, Kerr instructed his team to tighten up the help defense, especially off non-shooters like Jaylen Green. Suddenly, the driving lanes disappeared. Every Houston possession felt more forced, and every miss became a weapon for the Warriors in transition. Steph started cooking. He came off a pin down, rejected the screen, and floated his left. He caught the ball, rose up, and let it fly from well beyond the arc swish. The crowd groaned. Then he did it again, this time curling off a flare, using the tiniest bit of daylight to launch another triple. Swish again. Just like that, the Warriors flipped the script. In a matter of minutes, Golden State went on a 29-13 run to close the second quarter, turning a small lead into a commanding 13-point cushion at halftime. Curry had found his rhythm. Butler was in full control, and the Rockets, for the first time all night, looked rattled. Coming out halftime, Houston tried to punch back. They ran high pick and rolls to get Jaylen Green downhill. Şengün floated from the elbow to the low block, trying to re-establish his presence. Dillon Brooks tried to turn the game into a wrestling match, bumping, grabbing, pestering Curry at every turn. But it didn't matter. Curry used a simple jab fake to create space on the baseline. Jimmy Butler, reading the play, delivered a pinpoint pass. Easy bucket. Then it was Curry again, drawing two defenders, dumping it off to GP2, who soared in for the finish. Every time the Rockets adjusted, Golden State countered, and when they couldn't, Butler just took over himself, isolating on the wing, backing down defenders, and hitting tough mid-range jumpers with a shot clock ticking down. At one point, he even pointed to Reggie Miller on the broadcast after a three, saying, "I'm doing my best impression of you." But just when it looked like the Warriors were ready to run away with it, Houston punched back. Steven Adams, who had been quiet in the first half, started dominating the glass. Offensive rebounds turned into second chance points. Fred VanVleet started hitting floaters in the lane. And even with Curry hitting impossible shots, the Rockets refused to fold. Dillon Brooks turned into a one-man press, forcing a turnover on the inbound and scoring a tough layup. Jabari Smith Jr. came up with a massive block on GP2. Then Şengün hit a hook shot over Draymond to cap off a 17-3 run, cutting the lead to just 9 heading into the fourth quarter. The crowd was back in it. The momentum had shifted. For the first time since the opening minutes, it felt like Houston had control again. But then Steph Curry happened. Again, coming off a loony pin down, he found just enough space to rise and fire, hitting a back-breaking three over a late contest. Then, with the shot clock winding down, he launched one from near midcourt. Net, crowd silenced. It was one of those shots that you don't just see, you feel. The kind that takes the air out of the building. The kind that says, this game is over. Still, the Rockets didn't quit. Amen Thompson used his athleticism to slice through the defense, hitting a tough layup over multiple defenders. Jabari Smith Jr. nailed a corner three. Şengün continued to steady the offense with his footwork and touch around the rim. Houston had chances, but they couldn't string together stops. Golden State moved the ball like a team that had done this 1,000 times before. Drive, kick, extra pass, Moody three, bang. Then Jaylen Green did what he always does. Grabbed a tough rebound in traffic, pushed the ball, and found Butler for a dagger mid-range pull-up. That made it 11 with under 2 minutes to go. And that's when Jimmy Butler shut the door. With the shot clock ticking down, he sized up Şengün, took one hard dribble left, rose up, and hit the jumper. On the next possession, he jumped a passing lane and took it coast to coast for the and one. Ball game. The final score? Warriors 95, Rockets 85. But the box score doesn't tell the whole story. What we saw in Game 1 wasn't just a win, it was a message. The Warriors didn't just survive Houston's speed. They outplayed it, outthought it, out-executed. Where the Rockets had energy, the Warriors had experience. Where the Rockets had chaos, the Warriors had control. Steph finished with 25 points and 6 assists. But it was the timing of those points that mattered most. Jimmy Butler added 21 and 7, controlling the tempo and making big plays when it counted. Draymond was a defensive anchor. Moody hit key shots. GP2 brought his signature intensity. And Steve Kerr? He once again showed why playoff coaching is a game of chess, not checkers. As for Houston, there's no shame in how they played. Şengün was outstanding. Jaylen Green showed flashes of star power. And Amen Thompson's athleticism is impossible to ignore. But in the playoffs, potential doesn't win games. Execution does. And Game 1 belonged to the Warriors. Not because they were more talented, but because they were more prepared. So the next time someone says Golden State is washed, you might want to remind them of this game, of the plays Curry made, of the poise Butler showed, of the adjustments Kerr executed, and of the result. A double-digit road win against one of the most exciting young teams in the league. Because if this is what a washed team looks like, the West might be in trouble.